Hello everybody, welcome back to Planet X News. It is February 16th, 2017. Ladies and gentlemen, approximately 20 minutes ago, a magnitude 7.5 earthquake struck in southern Mexico. Now, folks, if all of you have been following me quite closely, you remember in some of my posts on the Planet X News Facebook page, I had mentioned that we should be watching out for these earthquakes. If you just give me one moment, we're going to get into some of this information. I want to go ahead and share this over on the Planet X News Facebook page. So just give me 1 second. Let's get this information shared. You know, I had a feeling that this was going to occur. Just give me 1 second here. Okay, well, we got that shared over on the Planet X News Facebook page. Give me 1 second, folks. This was kind of quick that this all came in. I'm just pulling up this live chat real quick. Okay, here we go, folks. All right, sorry about that. I'm sorry I haven't been doing a lot of videos with my voice. A lot of you have been wondering why I haven't been narrating some of the videos. I'll be quite honest with you. Once again, you know, YouTube is giving me some problems. They're deleting views, deleting subscribers, and their artificial intelligence, well, whenever you're uploading the video, it literally reads and listens to everything in your video. So I thought, well, what the hell? If they're hearing my voice, then they're going to flag my videos and blah, blah, blah. But anyways, folks, you know, we had this coronal mass ejection on the 12th. This coronal mass ejection was approximately 6 hours in length. It was directly Earth facing. As I said, right at the point of that coronal mass ejection, I knew it was going to take a few days before that actually reached the Earth. And lo and behold, I mean, this is what we're looking at right now. Let's go ahead and 43 kilometers deep. This is very, very close to the area where they had the other larger earthquake. Let's zoom in here a little bit more. These are not, let's see here. These are, okay, these are from different, these are not 3 earthquakes. This is just 1 earthquake. This is from the Geoscience Office in Australia. This is from the USGS. And this one is also from the USGS. So we're going off a magnitude 7.5. We're going to go ahead and zip over here real quick to the USGS because I have a feeling that they probably downgraded this. So let's get into the information real quick. Well, I could see that they took their lower reading of a magnitude 7.2. And if you look right over here, folks, we have the USGS right here, magnitude 7.5. I mean, you know, that little bit of a difference, it's not going to make that much of a difference. I want to take a quick look and see what is actually in this area. This may be a populated area. Yeah, it is. Yeah, San Miguel, San Lorenzo, La Palma. These are definitely heavily populated areas. Just take a look real quick at the regional map here. Wow, that was pretty widespread. You know, I noticed the other day that the earthquake and the seismic activity was picking up quite a bit. I knew it was just a matter of time before the possibilities of a large earthquake was going to occur. And let's get my microphone level up a little bit. I knew it was just a matter of time before one of these larger earthquakes hit. That direct CME directed straight at Earth. You know, it was said not to be a very powerful coronal mass ejection, but folks, that coronal mass ejection was directly straight at Earth. And, you know, I was checking out some of the magnetopause and magnetosphere models, and there were some very, very big fluctuations in our magnetosphere and our magnetopause. I threw up some information on the Planet X News Facebook page for all of you to see. I don't know if any of you actually looked at it, but I did some short video clips of it, and it showed a couple of very big pulses hitting our magnetosphere. And those pulses, they go right through our magnetosphere. You know, scientists all over the world are saying that our magnetosphere is weakening. Well, whenever we get a direct CME coming right at planet Earth with a weakened magnetosphere, what do you think is going to happen? All of those heavily charged particles are going to sink deep into the Earth's core. Now, some people say that, you know, solar wind and these heavily charged particles have nothing to do with earthquakes, but I beg to differ, and there's a lot of other people that do have the same scientific philosophy and theory. Me and Dr. Albers have discussed this many, many times before. We know that it happens. And here we go, a magnitude 7.5 in southern Mexico. And again, this is very close to the same region where they were hit not too long ago, and it caused buildings to shake, buildings to fall, facades of buildings to collapse, a lot of destruction. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the other information here real quick. I want to see if I could get into these reporting stations. Okay, well, they use the details right here on this data. No amplitudes are available there. Figures. Okay, these were a lot of magnitude 6s. This is a magnitude 7.1 that was listed. I'm just perusing down through these reporting stations. A lot of 6s, a lot of 7s. Now, this was a pretty strong earthquake, folks. Very, very strong. I'm sure in the next couple of hours, we will probably get a lot of information coming in from this earthquake. I want to just check the regional information. As you can see here, all of these little white dots, this is regional historical information on the earthquakes that have occurred in this region before. And you can see it's very, very active. I'm going to flip over here real quick to the Mexican seismology office. I do have a contact down there, and I'm going to see if I can possibly get a hold of him through email. Why is this not coming up? Oh, don't tell me they're down. Well, look at that. Lo and behold, the Mexican seismology office, their site is down. Well, that's not good. That's not good at all. Just take a step back here real quick. We'll take a look at the shake map here. What I want to see is I want to see how inhabited this area, the population. It does give me some information on it, but I want to see what is exactly around here. Looks like a small village of people here. Well, I bet they were terrified whenever this rocked this region. Wow. Okay, it looks like the Mexican Seismology Office is trying to come online. They have it listed at a magnitude 7.2. They're obviously having some internet issues with their website. You can see everything, all of the little tabs here are broken. Just give me 1 second here. We're going to go ahead and Google this and see what comes up as far as reports go. Now, this is coming from SBS News. Powerful 7.2 magnitude earthquake shakes Mexico City. Let's see if they have any video. Powerful earthquake shook Mexico City on Friday, triggering the capital's quake alarm system and causing buildings to sway. Once again, if you don't remember, folks, whenever this other big earthquake hit this region, I mean, they had buildings, tall buildings, swaying back and forth. They had the facades of buildings crashing down to the ground. It was a wonder that nobody was actually killed during that phase of the earthquake. It says here that the USGS initially gave the earthquake's magnitude as a 7.5, later revising it down to a 7.2. And located its epicenter 37 kilometers or 22 miles northeast of Pintapilla de Don Luis in the southwestern state of, I can't even pronounce that. I forget how to pronounce that that area, that city in Mexico. They said there was no issuing of a tsunami alert. Okay, we have some quick video here. Let's check this out. Doesn't look too bad from this point of view. Let's see what we got here.
Chicos, el que se quiera bajar se puede ir, obviamente, ¿va? Sí. Que termine, que termine. Sí.
Sí, tranquilos, tranquilos.
Well, a lot of the people are saying, hey, what's up, and then the other man is saying, tranquilo, you know, just be calm, be calm. It looks like some type of an office.
Thank you.
I don't know what these people are laughing about. You know, they could be in one of these buildings and it could collapse. I mean, we saw those buildings the last time they had the large earthquake there, and there were buildings just literally crumbling. Let's see what this news report says. Same thing. Again, folks, very, very early. I'm just kind of perusing around here to see what I could find out. This is just once again giving us the region. Magnitude 7.2. I don't think the small downgrade is really going to matter much. Let's see what we can find out here. This looks to be a news station. No. Just a blog. You know, it's kind of funny how our mainstream media doesn't really bother to, you know, cover situations like this. Let's take a look here. This is coming out of Reuters. Let's see if they have any video. Nope. Just video on China. This guy over here looks like he's looking up. Let's make sure this is the same earthquake we're looking at here. February 16th. That's it, folks. You know, see, this is the problem with mainstream media. We have a major earthquake, a magnitude 7.5, and this is all that you're seeing on the news. I mean, naturally, the situation that unfolded in South Florida, but now all they're talking about is the Russians, South Florida, and more of Donald Trump. Go ahead and see if there's any more reports that we can look at. What I'm trying to see if we could find is some actual video footage. Yeah, just basically right here. The story is developing. Please check back for more updates. I'm going to go ahead and flip over real quick, folks, to the SDO. You know, one of the issues that was that I was actually worried about, and that was the large coronal hole that was kind of behind this this coronal mass ejection. I'm just going to buzz a few of these. I'm going to move down here to the 211. You can see the coronal hole here somewhat, but we're going to move down. We're going to get a better view of it right here. You know, right after that coronal mass ejection headed towards Earth, this very large coronal hole started forming on the left limb of the sun, and as you can see already, it has spread all the way down to the lower left corner of the sun as we see it from the SDO. Many other coronal holes are opening up over here on the western, or excuse me, I think that'd be the eastern side, western side, or the left side. And once again, if you see that flashing going back and forth in front of the SDO camera, that is the moon. We are in that phase now where the moon passes in front of the SDO camera, and we get that little blip every now and then. But ladies and gentlemen, I am telling you right now that this situation with the earthquakes, this is not over. We're probably going to be in the stream of this coronal hole for the next possibly 3 to 5 days. And when I mean, in the pathway of this stream, these heavily charged particles, they don't make it to Earth instantaneously. It takes a couple of days, and as the sun rotates, it literally just spews all of these particles out, and the Earth literally gets stuck in this stream. Our magnetosphere is already weakened. We know that. But this weakening and these coronal mass ejections and these coronal holes, all this is going to do, folks, is increase the risk of large earthquakes. There may be people out there that say, oh, you're full of shit, blah, blah, blah. Well, listen, science is proving it. The data is proving it. We've been going through this now since 2016. I've been charting this. Every single time we have these large coronal holes facing the Earth, we have increased earthquake activity. Now we got the 1-2 punch, which was a direct Earth-facing coronal mass ejection. And, thank God that it wasn't a very powerful CME, but it was enough. And then following behind it, you see this monster coronal hole that is still kind of Earth-facing. It's above the equatorial region, but if you look right down below here, you're seeing this coronal hole stretching out and opening up. And that is an opening in the sun's so-called atmosphere. It's corona. Whenever you see these dark regions, that's basically, like I've said before, like on a cloudy day, and then all of a sudden the clouds disappear and the sun comes out and you feel the heat. Well, this is the same identical thing. Whenever you see those big dark black regions, that is the atmosphere of the sun being broken apart, dissipated, and all of those particles are literally just streaming out straight towards Earth. So believe me, I would definitely say, over the next 3 to 4 days, possibly even 5 days, the elevation of seismic activity, it's going to be up there. I would say it's going to be up there as like a level 10. No doubt. I hope there was no loss of life with this earthquake. What a big problem would be is this earthquake hitting at this time of day. It's still daylight there in Mexico. I believe they're like 2 to 3 hours behind me. I'm on the East Coast, and I don't even know what my time is right now. It's 7:29. So, about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, possibly, this earthquake hit. Possibly people leaving work and out in the streets, and then all of a sudden this big earthquake occurs. I'm sure that they're probably going to see quite a bit of aftershocks. I'm going to go ahead and just pull this back up. I want to see if anything else has occurred. Once again, folks, too, we're seeing a lot of small earthquake activity from Los Angeles to the Mexican border. And, some really weird things happened in Tijuana over the last couple of weeks. A lot of problems with cracks opening up in the ground. Not earthquakes, but, fissures opening up, some landslides, some houses disappearing, falling down into these small landslides, these big cracks in the roads and the sidewalks. We're getting to the point where sooner or later, this region of Southern California, it's going to pop one of these days. The USGS, they came online last year, and they haven't said too much about it this year, but last year they were squawking about a large magnitude 7+ earthquake in Ventura, California, because they discovered a new fault in Ventura. And Ventura is just a little bit east of downtown Los Angeles. It is a very, very heavily populated area. And again, if you have a magnitude 7+ earthquake in that area, there is going to be a lot of damage. You can see up here, San Francisco is getting, kind of getting lit up a little bit here. Small earthquakes, but again, they're just stretching straight down the San Andreas Fault. The fault curves over, goes right through Los Angeles, right through eastern San Diego, and bingo. I believe there was a small earthquake over in New Hampshire. I believe it was either today or yesterday. And once again, I haven't talked too much about what's happening up here still in the Gulf of Alaska. We haven't heard anything about this, but I did an extensive report on this based on the information that I got from the Mexican Seismology Office that these are not earthquakes that are occurring here. This is part of an ancient volcano that is literally blowing its top underwater. Nobody is talking about it. Nobody is giving us confirmation on it. And, you may see another large explosion from this underwater volcano. It seems that, I don't have the actual satellite up, but let's see if we can see it on this satellite. No, you can't see it. But that volcano's under here. And there is a whole line of those volcanoes. They're all stretching right along this region. I've showed them to you before on a different map that actually allows me to see those. And they are not too far off the coast of this Kodiak Island. And they're all basically right in this region. And they stretch down into the Cascadian fault line. Interesting. I'm sure once Dutch Sins comes online, once he gets notification of this earthquake, he probably already has it, and I'm sure he'll have quite a bit more information. Let's see what's happening over here. Just a bunch of 4s. 135 kilometers deep, magnitude 4.5. That's in Japan. They're kind of like their little usual over here in the this portion of the Ring of Fire. And once again, right here in the center of the United States, Oklahoma, they had a little bit of a bigger quake there the other day. And there's also been some increased activity right down here in the Caribbean, right along Puerto Rico. They just had another one here a little more than an hour and a half ago, magnitude 3.6. Really nothing to write home about there. Folks, also during the coronal mass ejection that occurred on the 12th, I was waiting and waiting and waiting for the cactus information to be updated, and usually the cactus coronagraph, it usually gets updated very, very quickly, within a short amount of time. I actually had to wait several days before the information came online with this coronal mass ejection and taking a look at it. While I have all of your attention, we can take a look at what I spotted during this coronal mass ejection on February 12th. And, there are a lot of people out there that just absolutely don't believe that Planet X exists. And, once again, folks, we've kind of nicknamed it this Planet X, but it's really not a planet. It is a stellar core. It is a remnant of a very, very old star. These objects are very, very powerful. They have very, very powerful magnetic fields. And, ladies and gentlemen, over the course of the last 2 years, I have documented all of this. And just this past year in 2016 2017 going into 2018, we have actually come up with hardcore evidence, photographic evidence. Some people say, oh, you're just showing us a gas bubble. Okay, whatever you say. But whenever you look at photographs like this, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, let's be realistic here. Does that look like it is a big gas bubble? I mean, it's a solid object. Dr. Albers was going over some of these photos the other day, once again trying to calculate its size. And again, the size of the object coincides with all of our other photo captures. It's pretty close to 3 to 5 times the size of Jupiter. And if you think that it doesn't exist, hey, look, you know, that's your prerogative. But if you do not see what is happening to this planet with our weather, with the earthquakes, with the volcanoes, I mean, if you don't see this, then you are blind and you are living in denial. For all of you that do follow me, you see all of the information that goes up on the Planet X News Facebook page. You know, as of lately, I've been very, very busy working on some other data and some other projects. I haven't been dropping, you know, many videos on YouTube because all YouTube does is they censor them and really, you know, nobody sees them. We're moving up close to 68,000 subscribers and we can barely get, 4,000 or 5,000 views because they're literally stealing the views from the channel. Whether or not people are watching it, I don't know exactly what they're doing. But the other day, hey, I got the notification they removed 125,000 views from Planet X News on YouTube for the month of January. You know, I really don't care about the view counts and the numbers, but I do want to know if I am reaching people out there in the world. And apparently through YouTube, we are not. You know, if you want to try to warn somebody about, you know, what is happening and, you know, they're subscribed to your YouTube channel and they're waiting for the information, they're waiting for the updates, I think they have a right to view what they want to view. You know, so again, I put up some information the other day pertaining to what we captured, and you know, YouTube left it up there for about a day, and then all of a sudden their artificial intelligence flagged the video, they demonetized it, but then they remonetized it like about 8 hours later. So what is the sense? I mean, it's ridiculous what is happening around the world. You know, more false flags, more politics that are just absolutely stupid and insane. We have very, very severe problems, you know, that are brewing right now with our weather systems. They are detrimental to everything. And that's what Dr. Albers and I have been working on. We've been working on going through all of this data pertaining to what's happening in the North Pole, what's happening in the South Pole. We're more interested in what's happening in the North Pole right now because they're undergoing a tremendous amount of sea ice loss. All of a sudden, you know, over the last week, there have been many articles popping up about this sea ice loss and rising oceans. Ocean levels rising around the world. You know, for like low-lying areas. For instance, the state of Florida, the southernmost part of the state. I mean, they're already in big trouble. I read a news article from the Miami Herald a couple of weeks ago stating that they're looking to spend $300 million just to, you know, try to create an irrigation system where they can get this water out of Miami Beach. Because the water levels rise, the roads flood, it's major problems, and yeah, they're going to be at a very, very big risk. All of South Florida and other areas too, folks. You know, all of the communities in the Gulf of Mexico. We have serious situations that can arise on the east coast of the United States. For instance, New York City. Hey, you know, listen, just because it's New York City and they have these big, tall, you know, high-rise buildings, you have to take a look at how far above the sea level New York is. They can get instantaneous flooding, you know, very, very quickly. And, hey, you never know. It could look like one of the scenes out of, you know, The Day After Tomorrow, or what was that other movie? The 4th of July. But it's coming, folks. Mark my words. You know, we have a massive object like this monster floating around out there near the sun and orbiting the sun. And sooner or later, you know, we're going to have one of these coronal mass ejections, again, Earth-facing, but it may be 10 times worse than what we just went through on the 12th, and we're now feeling the effects of it. So if we get something like a coronal mass ejection that is Earth-facing, that is much, much larger than what we just went through, we're going to see these earthquakes popping off all over the world. And they're going to be, you know, magnitude 7s, 7.5s, possibly 8s, possibly even 9s. Yes, it's all speculation, but it is reality, and it can happen. And it can happen in a flash. And remember, I told you guys a lot of times, I've said this over and over, just because you live in an area where you don't think that earthquakes are going to harm you or volcanoes are going to harm you, well, or even, you know, natural disasters, you think that you're safe. Well, guess what? Where I live, I mean, I don't have the threat of earthquakes or volcanoes, but just last night, with all of this freaky weather, temperatures here in the Pittsburgh area have been steadily rising in the high 40s, in the high 50s, in the low 60s. And then all of a sudden, we're right in the midst of all of this streaming rain coming up, and the jet stream pulling it right over the whole northeast sector where I live. Well, early last night, the flooding started. And I mean, it's pretty bad. About 2 miles from where I live, roads were closed, roads were washed out. All 3 of the rivers are at flood stage. Some of the smaller tributaries, they are already overflowing. We had a tornado touchdown in a historic town south of me in the mountains called Uniontown. Right in the middle of the night, tornado touched down and obliterated a historical town that has been there since the early 1800s. Literally blew the bricks off of buildings, tore the roofs off of houses, split trees in half that are 4, 5, 6 feet in diameter that have probably been there for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, wiping everything out. Small towns that are along the rivers that are actually, you know, 10, 15, 20 feet above the river, flooded, underwater. You know, I could go through and show you all those pictures, but, you know, YouTube will simply flag the video for showing you a natural disaster. Something that has occurred, something that is affecting people's lives. But it's okay for mainstream media like CNN to go on their YouTube channel and show you children being shot and massacred in a school and blood all over the floor. It's okay for them to allow mainstream media to show other YouTube followers that type of scenery. But it's not okay for us to show you what natural disasters are occurring on this planet every minute of every day. And it is absolutely pathetic. This was one more frame as this CME was ending. I'm sorry the date gets cut off here whenever I'm screenshotting this with their slider on their video, but you can see the object right there, and we're going to progress a little bit further in this. And again, folks, I mean, you know, I had one idiot tell me that they're sick and tired of me showing all of you crap CGI photographs. Well, you know what, dickhead? These aren't crap CGI photographs. They're coming right from the Cactus Coronagraph, and any one of you can go there and you can download the information and you can look at it for yourself. I don't manipulate anything except for some filter changes and some contrast to try to bring out the object a little bit more. You know, so the trolling operations, you know, I mean, I'm sick of them. They're a bunch of idiots, a complete bunch of assholes, these people. And all they want is they want each and every one of you not to listen to me, not to listen to Dr. Albers, and they don't want you listening to the truth. Because these are nothing more than, you know, little CIA, FBI, NSA fags that sit there behind their computer because they're not out in the field, you know, doing their little spy operations. So they sit behind multiple computers with their little sock puppet accounts and they troll YouTube channels, Twitter, and Facebook. That's what they went to college to be recruited to the CIA so they can sit behind a computer and play on Facebook, while the rest of the world is in jeopardy of cataclysms and catastrophes every minute of every single day. And again, folks, I mean, what do you think? Do you think this big black sphere just popped out of the sun? No, you all know exactly what it is. We all know that. You know, something very suspicious, the Soho website where we look at the red and the blue coronagraphs at the sun. Hell, they've been down since January 25th, supposedly for maintenance. Well, what are they doing? What is this, like a Jiffy Lube where you pull your satellite in for an oil change? Well, what type of maintenance are you doing? All of the public access to that website, it's gone. I keep trying to go over to the Sechi website. It's down. I go to the ISWA website. It's down. Stereo goes down. Well, why all of a sudden are they taking all of these public access online websites? Why all of a sudden are they taking them down left and right? What type of maintenance are you actually doing? Did you fly a couple of those little fake astronauts up there to what? Maybe change the lens, change the oil? Huh? What are you doing? All I know is it is nothing more than a massive amount of deception that, once again, they are pulling on all of us. Because things are getting critical, folks. You can see how critical they are getting just by looking at the weather. I've told all of you before, I will say it again. You must pay attention very carefully to your weather systems every single day. If you don't have an app on your phone, download one. Make sure you have those alerts set up. Ladies and gentlemen, we don't get tornadoes that often here in southwestern Pennsylvania. We just don't. But yet, a pretty big tornado touched down and literally almost wiped out an entire historical town. I mean, you're talking about American history. George Washington. I mean, to destroy that town, it kind of broke my heart to see what occurred there. Because that's part of this country's history, and if you destroy it, you just can't get it back. We're going to see more and more and more of this. It is going to become part of your life. And that's why I say, you know, if you see me post a video, watch it. I made the video for a reason, and that reason is to inform you. And when I inform you, I'm expecting you to inform anybody who's following you, your friends, your family members, your group members. Get the information out. I don't care if you share the photographs, but I want you to share everything with everyone. And I try to give, as much of an explanation as I can. I try to keep it, in layman's terms so everybody can understand what is happening. And again, folks, just because you live in a quiet little town doesn't mean that you're not going to be a victim of one of these catastrophes. Sooner or later, it's going to come knocking on your door, just like it did in my area last night. And it's not over here either, folks. It's still raining. There's still more rain coming. The temperatures are going up. The ground is not frozen at all. So all of the ground is saturated. All of the tributaries, waterways, and rivers are rising, and they're rising rapidly. Just sent a friend of mine a picture of downtown Pittsburgh, where all three rivers come together. And the whole point, there's a big, gigantic water fountain called the Point, where all three of the rivers come together in downtown Pittsburgh. And it is completely underwater, and the rivers are just full of mud because they literally have to open up all of the locks and dams all the way downriver, and they have to release massive amounts of water because people live all along these rivers. We're going to start to see more and more weather anomalies as we move into spring. And I keep getting this really bad feeling that we're going to see a very wet springtime in the well, probably more than half of the United States. Like, for instance, from Texas in the Midwest all the way up through the east coast of the United States. And ladies and gentlemen, if that occurs, we're going to see a tremendous amount of flooding, constant flooding, because all three of the rivers that are located here in Pittsburgh, the Allegheny, the Monongahela, they flow into the Ohio River. The Ohio River flows into the Mississippi River. The Mississippi flows all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico. But look at all of the communities, all of the cities and the towns and the people that live along these rivers. What do you think is going to happen to them and their towns? They're going to be underwater. So again, having some kind of preparedness plan, keeping track of what is actually happening out there. It's a big deal. It's a big, big issue. Now, I was going through more and more of these coronagraph images, and again, they're kind of hard to capture this because their frames. I'm trying to get to the beginning here, folks. Just bear with me. Their frames are so far apart that when you try to use their little video slider, it's just real difficult. So it takes me some time. But during this coronal mass ejection, I was able to capture this object. And, my theory is that whenever this object gets close enough to the sun in its orbit, it creates these coronal holes. And it was just by chance that that sunspot, 2699, came in contact with Planet X, as you can see, because the sunspot was right here where my cursor is. And here you see this object. I mean, for God's sakes, it has stripes on it, just like Jupiter, and just like a lot of the photographic captures that I have shown all of you over the course of the last year throughout 2017. It almost looks like Jupiter, and Jupiter is a failed star. Scientists, astrophysicists, astronomers, they refer to comparisons with brown dwarfs. They compare them to Jupiter, and they use the terminology of a hot Jupiter, a failed star. Let's take a closer look at it. It's a little pixelated, but I mean, what? What are you telling me, that that's not there? And then there's some other smaller spheres that are actually in these photographs. They're three-dimensional. I mean, I had one bozo literally tell me this is nothing more than part of the coronal mass ejection. Ladies and gentlemen, I have looked at thousands of these coronal mass ejections on the sun, going back a long time ago. Not until 2017 did I start to see the coronal mass ejections exposing Planet X, exposing this object. These are just a little darker. I'm going to move back over here because in this clip, I'm going to just zoom it in. You can see where my cursor is. You can see one smaller sphere here. You can see another smaller sphere here. Now, these white dots, I don't know exactly what that might be, but these ones are actually three-dimensional. I know it pixelates a little bit, but you can tell the difference when you're looking at these, because you can tell that these have just a little bit of shadow underneath. They don't look like these ones that are just a square pixel. These ones actually keep their shape. So let me buzz out of here for 1 second. Let me get to this one here. Where is the picture? I took so many pictures of this damn thing. Where the hell is it? Oh, I don't know what I did with it, folks. I had one picture with arrows pointing these little smaller spheres out. But again, you know, we go from this large magnitude 7.5 earthquake, and I believe that we'll probably see more over the next couple of days. Absolutely no doubt. I mean, that's what I believe. This is what we research. And let's just take a look here real quick. This was part of this stratospheric split in the Arctic, and this is some of what Dr. Albers and I have been going over, and what we've been looking at up here in the Arctic. There are major issues forming up here, folks. Major issues. And what you're looking at here is you're looking at the whole entire, let's just call it the weather system of the Arctic being split in two and pushing this system and this cold front down over the western part of the United States into the Pacific, and this one over here down into Eastern Europe. Everything else in the middle is warm. You know, and I was taking a look at some of the jet stream today, and actually yesterday, and it looked pretty bad. When I was referring to these heavily charged particles moving into the Earth's core, penetrating all the way through the Earth's crust, this is where it's getting down to. You start heating this core up, and the next thing you know, all of the pressure increases all the way out, and bingo, here we go. Now we have the earthquakes. So I'm sure you all know by now the dynamics of these earthquakes, and it looks like we've had another earthquake pop off here. Magnitude 5.8, 23 minutes ago. Aftershock, pretty big aftershock down here in Mexico. If I'm not mistaken, I just saw what just happened here in Cuba. Magnitude 4.7. Oh, that's not Cuba. What am I talking about? Oh my God. Sorry, folks, get my map mixed up here. This is down here in Indonesia. Sorry to be laughing about that, but so 78 kilometers deep, magnitude 4.7, 8 hours ago, another 4.4. I think now, over the next couple of hours, you may see, oh, this is what I was looking at. This was in Haiti. Sorry about that. There's so many earthquakes popping off here. Excuse me, I can't keep track of them. Not too deep, very, very shallow. Magnitude 4.6. I can guarantee you, let's see where this hit. Oh, it's offshore. Okay, I was going to say, if a magnitude 4.6 hits on land in Haiti, it will cause destruction. You know, their infrastructure is still very, very poor. From the last time they had a big earthquake, and the Clinton Foundation stole all of the money for the relief fund for the people in Haiti, and they stuck it in their damn pockets. Millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars donated to these poor people in Haiti, and the Clintons stole the damn money. So it's another big problem we have, folks. Politics, politicians, New World Order scum. They're everywhere. So I would definitely say we're going to see more increased earthquake activity. No doubt. We have this nice big fat coronal hole right here. It's opening up through the whole entire region. This will last, earth facing, for the next 72 hours. And we'll definitely see things picking up. Absolutely no doubt. Listen, folks, make sure that you are subscribed to our YouTube channel, Planet X News and Dr. Albers' channel. So let me dip over here real quick. Let's get out of here. Get out of here. If you go over here to the Planet X News YouTube channel, if you need to catch a link to these channels, Dr. Albers, they're right there. That's all you got to do. Click on them and make sure you're subscribed. Now, something that's been going on here with YouTube is whenever you go to click on that little black bell, I know myself and a lot of other people have been telling me that they have to click on that bell 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times before the little drop-down window comes up that confirms that you're now getting notifications. So it's a shame that you have to keep, checking on your notifications to make sure that you are set up to receive the information whenever we upload it or we go to a live stream. But to me, YouTube, absolutely pathetic. And I believe that they're probably part of the New World Order. They were infiltrated by the CIA a long time ago, and they have their filthy, dirty, rotten hands in everything. All of these social media companies do. Google, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, they're all part of it, folks. And if we don't stand together, and if we don't band together, we have nothing. We have to keep the information flowing as long as we can. Because one day, you're going to wake up and you're going to try to log on to the internet or log on to Facebook, and it's not going to be there. Because they're just going to take it all down and take it all away from you. And then what are you going to do? We are so used to social media and we're so used to our cell phones. Just imagine not having your cell phone, not having access to the internet, not being able to make a call. How many of you have a house phone? I mean, a lot of people got rid of their house phones 10, 15, 20 years ago because they had a cell phone. Why pay 2 bills? Now, it may be a plus to have a home telephone. But guess what? Your home telephones are directly connected to your router. So now you don't have a home telephone unless you have one of those old dial phones or the old slimline kitchen phone. It's absolutely pathetic, ladies and gentlemen. That's what's happening in this world. I mean, it's nothing more than one cover-up after the next. They want you to believe that some rich dude from South Africa launched his fancy Tesla sports car into space, orbited the Earth for 16 hours with a mannequin in it while they videotaped it. They want you to believe that the United States put a man on the moon back in the 60s. Well, that's all horse shit. Nobody ever walked on the moon. They can't even get through the Van Allen belt. They can't get through it now. What made you think that they were able to get through it back then? So everything that these governments want us to believe is nothing more than a damn illusion. That's all that it is. And they don't want you looking up in the sky, and they don't want you digging into astronomy in the way that we do, because we want to know what's actually out there. They don't want you to know anything. They want you to keep playing with your cell phone, and they want you looking straight at the ground. They don't want you looking up. I have so many people tell me and send me messages and emails on a daily basis that, you know, their posts on Facebook are disappearing. Their posts on Twitter are disappearing. Their views on YouTube are disappearing. Their subscribers are disappearing. Well, let's be realistic, folks. Who the hell do you think's doing that? Do you think it's some glitch? Hell no. It's the powers that be behind each and every one of these social media companies. And they're all billionaires, and they all have their golden ticket to the golden gates of their golden bunkers. They can have the bunkers, because I would not want to be underground during, you know, massive earthquakes. So let them have it. And, you know, one other thing, folks, they don't want people connecting. They don't want people making worldwide networks like what we're trying to do, a network of information. They don't want that. You know, I'm only one man. I really can't fight that whole system. I mean, we try every single day. But without the numbers, without each and every one of you, all of us, you know, that little two-letter word, there's two of them, us and we. Those are two very powerful little two-letter words, us and we. We as a people, us together. Sooner or later, folks, they're going to take it all away. If you're living here in the United States, look, you already see the false flags. Now they're killing people. Before, when they used to do the false flags, they used crisis actors and fake blood and fake bullets. Now they're killing people. You know, I didn't want to come on here and touch on what happened in South Florida, but it absolutely makes me sick to my stomach. I mean, it really does. That in order for these assholes to take away our guns, take away our rights, that they have to go out there and kill children for a political reason? And each and every time this happens, within hours, these dumbass politicians, they start jumping out there and they start yelling and complaining about guns. Ladies and gentlemen, a gun doesn't walk into a school or a concert or any venue and just start killing people. The guns are not the problem. Because as we have seen through all of the terrorism in this country and other countries, if somebody really wants to do damage, they'll use other means. Just recently, a few hours ago, I saw a report where some nutbag went on a stabbing spree and stabbed 33 people in China. Okay, that's a knife. What are you going to do? You know, ban all culinary tools? What, you can't buy a knife now? Oh, what about baseball bats? What are you going to do then? Hey, you could do the same damage with a baseball bat. You could do the same with a tire iron, a stick, a board, a 2x4. What are you going to do? Ban everything? You know, I truly believe, ladies and gentlemen, that they set that kid up. There's no doubt in my mind. You know, you can dig deep into the MK Ultra situation and the drugs that they're feeding these young kids nowadays. It's ridiculous. These programs do exist in governments, not just the United States. They exist in other governments. You know, a lot of the countries that you could thank for this, the UK, listen, the UK government over there, they're completely screwed. The German government, same shit. The United States government, and now Canada following suit, right with the rest of them. It's pathetic. That's truly my belief that they set this kid up. Everything that you see coming out there about this kid is just pretty much a setup. You know, there were things coming out in the media already that these kids are saying that the Secret Service was there at their school a week or two before and did something to change their whole security setup at the school. You already have multiple students coming out live on TV and reports stating that there were more than one shooters, 2 shooters, 3 shooters. You already have witnesses stating that they heard gunshots in several of the buildings. You know, my kids went to school in this area of South Florida. When I saw this happening in Parkland, and that was not too far away from where they live, but my son's already in college, and my daughter graduates this year. But she wasn't in that school, thank God. But then, you know, they're dragging these families in and politicizing all of this for nothing but a gun grab. It's not going to work in this country. It's just not going to happen. People just don't wake up one day and decide to go massacre people. I'm sorry. There are other influences at work here, folks. You know, I may sound like some big conspiracy kook. Think what you want. All of the evidence, every single time, is laid out right in front of your face. The only thing you have to do is take off the blinders and start analyzing all of the information. Watch the interviews. Watch what they're saying on the news reports. Watch the body language of the politicians that are up there speaking. One guy that's already getting on my nerves is the sheriff in Broward County, Scott Israel. He is a big Clinton supporter. Yeah. What's the first thing he comes out and says? Hey, all of you reporters, stay away from the family members. You just stay away from them. Of course, yeah, these people are grieving. But to me, that sounded like a threat to the media to stay away from these people because we don't want our narrative changed. But I'll tell you this much. There are some bright kids at that school. Broward has a pretty good school system. And if you listened to the way that those kids spoke, the majority of them were very well spoken. They didn't sound like some little street thugs. Very well pronounced. And they told you exactly what happened. But now every damn thing that occurs is a cover-up. Again, you may think it's just me being a conspiracy kook, but listen, there are millions of other people out there that are thinking and examining everything the same. Oh, sorry about that. Looks like they disconnected me for a second. But, you know, it goes far beyond the false flags now, where, you know, they're using mannequins and fake blood and fake bullets and all that crap. Now they're actually killing people. Now there are actual funerals being conducted. And then there are still those idiots out there that want you to believe the tragedy that occurred at Sandy Hook Elementary School was real. Well, you know, folks, if you just go back and dig into Sandy Hook, you'll find that the school had been closed for a very long time. The reason why they closed it is because the school had no heat. Because the boiler that heats the school and provides hot water was seriously damaged and broken, and there was asbestos in the school. So how in the hell can you have a mass shooting of children in a school that hasn't been opened for years? I mean, one of the worst things I saw in a false flag was what happened in Orlando. You got crisis actors carrying a Hispanic mannequin down the street in front of staged cameras. When the situation occurred in Orlando, man, I blew that right out of the water. Every single time the shooter dies, they shut him up, they silence him. What happened this time? What happened this time? Now they're coming out and saying that this kid admitted to this heinous crime. He looks drugged out. He doesn't look like he even knows what's happening. And they're slipping up already. For instance, when they put him on the gurney, the stretcher, to put him in the ambulance, they get him to the Broward Hospital, got a helicopter up above, a news helicopter, that zooms in down to the ambulance, and the helicopter never lost sight of the ambulance driving down the road to the hospital with police escorts. The helicopter never lost sight of that ambulance. When the ambulance pulled in, they took the stretcher out and they tried to wheel it into the hospital real quick. The stretcher was empty. Empty. There was no person on the gurney. Where did the shooter go? Where did Mr. Cruz go? Was he still in the back of the ambulance? Huh. So again, folks, you think they want to cover Planet X up? They're covering everything up. It's pathetic. Sooner or later, people are going to start to realize that this matrix that we're living in, that's exactly what it is. What do you believe? Yeah, I admit there's a lot of fake news out there that pops up from time to time. But you know what, folks? There are a lot of people out there that are good investigators. They got a good head on their shoulder, and they got a good eye. And again, don't always suck up to what mainstream media is telling you. You dig into it for yourself. And as you can see, each and every day, I got these disgusting, sick troll babies all over me and all over Dr. Albers every single day with their stupid ass emails and their stupid ass videos and blah, 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 blah. They think it affects me. It doesn't. It doesn't stop us. It doesn't deter us. But you can see they have their little gay NSA and CIA agents, whatever the hell they're doing in their little telemarketing rooms, you know, infiltrating the comment sections and blah, 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 blah. And they're trying to mentally get to me and Dr. Albers. Well, you know what, guys? If you're listening to me right now, you can kiss my Italian ass all the way to Washington, D.C. Because when the shit hits the fan, you guys aren't going to get your golden tickets to those golden little gates, to those government bunkers, because they're going to leave your ass right up here with us. And when that happens, woo, we're going to have a barbecue. This is Scott from Planet X News. Stay tuned, folks. I'm out.